Hello and welcome to Codivate's Intro to Block-Based Programming in Scratch. This is Lesson 10, and today we're going to review all of the topics we've covered in the previous 9 lessons. Starting off, in general, we have learned that a program is just a list of instructions, very similar to a recipe book. And in order to write a program, the question that we ask ourselves is, what specific steps can I take to get to my desired output? So what ordered steps can you take to get to what you want? And then we also learned conditionals and loops and variables. We also learned Booleans, which is how we use our conditionals. And they are just true-false statements. For example, is 7 equal to 3 is what we would put in our Boolean block, our green hexagon thing, and it would give us yes or no, true or false. And then we put those in our conditionals, and that is how we get our program to do one thing when the Boolean is true, and another thing when the Boolean is false. Like this. We use these decision trees to visualize how the program decides what it's going to do. So we have our question, which is our Boolean, and if the question ends up being true, it'll do something, and if it's not, it'll skip that thing. And then there's also another thing you can do with an else statement. If you add an else statement to your conditional, you can make it, instead of just skipping the something, like this, it does a whole other thing before continuing. Then loops are something else we've used. Loops are sort of like repeated conditionals, and they allow you to repeat code. So if you want to repeat something 20 times, you can use the repeat 20. But the more advanced loop, the repeat until loop, is kind of like an if statement that's just constantly going. So it's a repetitive if statement, sort of. An if statement that goes back to the top every time. Alright, so here's a practice. Boolean practice is just tell me which one of these is true and which one is false. They might both be true or false. It's not like one and the other. Alright? So the first one is true and the second one is false. That is because 2 is in fact less than 50. Right now when we put these two numbers in and we click on it, we're asking the Boolean, this block, whether 2 is less than 50 or not. And in this case it is, so it's true. And conversely, when we ask the Boolean, is 70 less than 50? That is not actually true, so the Boolean says no, which is false. Next thing with Booleans. Now, more complicated one. Will our Boolean give us true or false at the end of this program? Alright, so the answer is false, and here's why. So first, the variable is 0, because we're setting it. So it doesn't matter what it was before, it's now 0. Changing the variable by 5 adds 5 to the number. So 0 plus 5 is 5. So now the variable is equal to 5. Then we change it again by 7. So we add 7 to whatever the current value is. And the current value is, right now, it's 5. So 5 adding 7 to it gives us 12. Now we ask, is 12 less than 6? No, it is not. So it's false. Alright. Conditionals. This is almost the same question when you think about it. Here's a good example of tying things in. Asking whether or not this Boolean is true or false is very similar to asking what the program's going to do, because it's really all dependent on whether this Boolean is true or false. So the answer is, it just says hello and goodbye. And here's why. So this is the exact same code as earlier, right? The variable starts at 0, you add 5, and then you add 7. So like last time, the variable should be 12 now. Then we're saying, if 12 greater than 6, then say hello. Well, 12 is in fact greater than 6, so it will say hello. Then the next thing is it says goodbye. Just because it says hello doesn't mean it doesn't say goodbye, since this goodbye isn't in an else block of your conditional, it's just the next thing. So whether or not it said hello, it's always going to say goodbye. Next thing. What will the cat do when this program runs? You can assume the cat starts in the middle facing to the right, usually. Alright. The answer is, the cat will say A and then say B. And here's why. So we have a variable that starts at 0, and then we add 5 to it. That's what the change by 5 means. So now it's 5 instead of 0. Then we're adding 10 to it. So now 5 plus 10 is 15. So my variable is equal to 15 right here. Then we're checking if it's greater than 6. It is in fact greater than 6, so we're going to run whatever's in here. It says A, the cat says A, then we subtract 5 from our variable. Now, if the variable is equal to 10, well, let's see, when we subtracted 5 from a variable, it went from 15. Minus 5 is 10. So, my variable, which is 10, is in fact equal to 10. So, it's going to, after it says A and subtracts 5, it's then going to say B. And that's the end of the program. Next one. What will the cat say when this program runs? So the answer is, the cat will say A is less than 6. And let's walk through the code to find out why. So, tricky thing here is that we have different variable names in these blocks. The first one is a set A and set B. So A right now is 7 and B is 6. Okay? Then we change B by 8. So B, 8 just got added to B, and B was 6. So B is now 14. 6 plus 8 is 14. So B is 14 from now on. And then we're setting A to B, which means setting A to 7 was irrelevant. We didn't need to do that. Setting A to B. So B I just said was 14, so now A is also 14. So they're both the same number. They are both 14 right now. So now, if B is greater than 20, in other words, if 14 is greater than 20, well, 14 is not greater than 20, so we're skipping this and running the else. Then we're subtracting 20 from A, and 20 was also 14, so A is now negative 4. Then we're asking if negative 4 is greater than 6, which it's not, so we're going to skip the if and go here. It says A is less than 6, and that is the answer. Now for the loop practice. Write a program where the cat moves to the right smoothly. So instead of being the jagged motion that you normally see with your step by 10 with weights, I want it to move smoothly, kind of like the glide block, but don't just use the glide block. Use something else. Use a loop. Here it is. You repeat 50 times, change x by 2. Now the trick here is to put a small number here and a big number here. That is what gives you the impression of the cat moving smoothly, is having a small number on your change x by. Next thing, write a program where the cat goes in a smooth circle 7 times. I believe we've already done circles in the past. So if you remember how to do that, this should be pretty easy. Okay, the answer is this. You have 2 repeats inside of each other. So now we have, you're repeating 7 times here because we're making 7 circles, and then whatever's inside makes a circle. So repeating 36 times of these 2 blocks gives you 1 circle because it's turning 10 degrees and moving at the same time. So it's moving and turning at the same time, and it's doing it smoothly. That's what this repeat 36 loop does, and then you're just sticking that inside of a repeat 7 to do it 7 times for 7 circles. You could multiply these 2 numbers and just have 1 repeat, and it would in fact work the same way. But this is easier to read because you can sort of understand what it's doing more than if you actually combine these into 1 number. Alright, more extra practice. Write a program where the cat asks for your first name, and then your last name, and then your age. And then the cat should say your name is first name, last name, and your age years old. And it should say it all in 1 line. Now this one's probably the most tricky one because it includes a block we have not covered yet. So let me show you that block right now. Here, I'm in Scratch now. It's this block right here, join. So, right now, what happens is, when we join apple, banana, it gives us apple, banana, because there's a space right after the E here. That's why there's a space. If I take out this space here, it's just apple, banana. But if I put a space after apple, or before banana, it separates them. like that. So if I put that in a say block and run it, cat says apple, banana. Now, what if I want to, so this I could have like, let's say I have a block here for like a first name and a last name. Let me make variables. First, here's their first name, here's their last name, right? But I want to say more than this. I want to say your name is before that. So, well, how do we put the words your name is before it? Well, it's the same block. We can just put another join block in. We can just join it with your name is, and then space. And then if you do that, it says your name is, and first and last right now are 0 and 0, but we can fix that. Now, here's one extra problem. 0 and 0 don't have a space between them. Actually, let me set first and last to something more reasonable. Let's make it Kian, Holden. So right now, it combines them. So we need to add a space between them. Well, we know how to do that. It's with another join block. We just keep putting join blocks inside of each other. So we want to separate the first and last. So we put a first here, and a last here like that. And then we put a space in the middle. And we put it back where it was. Just like that. So now, it says, your name is Kian Holden. So now we want to say, and you are age years old, right? So how do we put something at the end? Well, we just do another join, and we put this one in the first half. And we say, and you are age years old. Well, we need to add a variable for age here. So let's add an age. And you are. Now we need to put another thing after this. And since age is a variable, we can't just put it in here. We need another join block. And we are. So, and you are age years old. How do we put years old? Again, same exact process. You just put everything in here. Put all of this in the first. Oops. Your name is, okay. So you put everything in here. And you, oh no. I can't undo, oh, I can undo that. Okay, good. And you are age years old with a space. So now, that's how we do that. It says, your name is Kian Holden, and you are, well, I need a space here. Oop. And you are age years old. Notice how these are connected? That's because I need a space after this R, like that. Your name is Kian Holden, and you are 0 years old. So now I put that into the hello. If I could. I need to zoom out to do it. Oops. So there. That's it. Your name is Kian Holden, and you are 0 years old. Now, that is a lot of stuff. I will admit. That's a lot of join blocks. But this is how you can get your computer, the Scratchcat, to say things with variables in them. Because otherwise, without these join blocks, you wouldn't be able to do this. You wouldn't be able to say, your name is... You can't just put first here, because it covers everything. So in order to do that, you need to use these join blocks together. And in order to string lots and lots of variables, like 3 different variables with text in between them, you need to have lots of join blocks nested together. But that is in fact the answer to this problem. It's what I just made. And the thing right before that is getting all of these variables to be the right thing. It's you ask them their name and you store it in the first by setting first to your answer. Then you ask them the last name and do the same thing. And then you ask their age and do the same thing. Really, the idea was this, trying to figure out how to do this. And the idea is you just, every time you need to add more text, you just use another join block. And that's it. Thank you for watching.